Hey, I'm the Genshin scientist. Today I'll be using my own voice on a video for the first time in a while, so I hope you will enjoy it. This video is about my updated calculations regarding all Haitham's builds, which changed a bit since I've last shown them, both because of the latest beta changes, and because of some corrections and improvements of the methods used. In this video, I will show you updated data regarding these artifacts, weapons and rotations. Let's get straight into it. First, let me summarize the analysis I've done 2 days ago on my channel about the nerfs. All Haitham received a considerable flexibility and damage nerf, as they weakened several parts of his kit, forcing him to rely more on specific parts of his abilities to succeed. In practical terms, this means he now has fewer good rotations, and basically all of them rely on normal attacks and level 2 or 3 mirror procs, with his elemental burst in particular being just a mean to get stacks to amplify his mirror's damage at this point. Since you don't care too much about his elemental burst damage now, it's even more convenient to use it without stacks, since that will make it generate 3 stacks shortly after, which will allow you to maximize the elemental skill damage over a whole rotation. In fact, by doing that and then distributing these other ways to get mirror stacks properly throughout the rotation, there are ways for you to keep 3 mirrors up for the entirety of all Haitham's damage window, which is what you need to maximize this output. In general, the best rotations revolve around the fact he'll have to use his elemental burst at the start, and then manage the Ascension 1 passive and his elemental skill effects to get more mirrors when you need it, with normal attacks in between. The change of rotations considerably affects his weapons rankings, as weakening the impact of his elemental burst and charge attack are big changes compared to what I considered before. Starting from a logical point, a rotation that relies on normal attacks and elemental skill hits the most benefits all Haitham's signature weapon more than others, as its elemental mastery base effect only procs on those hits. For this reason, using the new rotation makes the signature considerably better than all other options numerically speaking, while it was more vague with rotations I used before. It's still worth mentioning that the signature's damage procs work like Genshin and Shenhe's fixed damage buffs, meaning AoE hits will count as multiple different procs, so the signature scales worse in AoE scenarios compared to other weapons. While Jade Cutter has consistently stayed the second best option throughout the whole beta process so far, Heron was initially suspect due to how restricted it was in terms of buffs for all Haitham compared to other strong 5-star options. However, now that the rotation includes a lot of normal attacks, it does exceptionally well, despite part of its passive lasting just 8 seconds. It even surpasses Mist Splitter in my Calcs now. To clarify, I'm using a realistic stack scenario for Mist Splitter in my rotations, meaning I don't just select a fixed amount of stacks for the whole damage window. Rather, I change the damage buffs dynamically throughout the rotations for its calc. Lower end options such as Harbinger of Dawn or the new event weapon Shigure still hang in there, although now the difference between the signature and cheaper options is still noticeable, to the point the difference gets very big if you look at something like Max Refinement Blacksword. If anybody was wondering about elemental mastery weapons being penalized due to all Haitham's elemental mastery scalings getting lowered, that's not the case, as the scaling got lowered only for attacks that are not very relevant for this rotation. Just like the last time, energy recharge based weapons are calculated on the assumption all Haitham spares 20% energy recharge from his artifact substats with those equipped. Still, they rank low nonetheless, as they're just not good in general when it comes to their passives or stats. What you should take away from this updated ranking is that, while a signature weapon has been brought up to the average level of other signature weapons, the change has not been too harsh in terms of what weapons you should use, since there are still many great options for all kinds of players. Specifically, It's quite nice that Haitham can make good use of almost all of the 5-star weapons released after launch, something that can't be said about most other characters. Alternatively, if I had to pick a free-to-play winner here, Iron Sting is probably what you should be looking for, since Shigure is penalized by its single target only effect, and Harbinger of Dawn is risky to use even with a shielder or a healer on team, as its damage drops off a cliff if you can't keep its effect up. Of course, weapons that provide significant team buffs, such as Freedom's Sworn or Xyphos, are penalized on this calculation, which only considers Alhaitham's personal damage. Overall, my advice hasn't changed since my last weapon video. Only go for a signature weapon if you lack any of the good 5-star options and you have the extra primos to justify the expense. Regarding his artifacts, not much has changed. Note that what I'm showing isn't based on signature weapon calculations, which benefit from additional elemental mastery buffs more, and yet elemental mastery artifacts win all the way, by quite the margin. A question I got a lot after my last video is whether or not attack now becomes more beneficial than elemental mastery, but just like I said for the weapon ranking, the scaling change is just not that impactful for the best rotation you can use, so the scenario stays pretty much unchanged when it comes to artifacts. Moreover, an elemental mastery sense is still 5% better than an attack sense on him. The stat you should prioritize is still energy recharge overall, as even after the nerf, casting his elemental burst every rotation is essential for his damage output, as it's what allows him to manage his mirror stacks properly. After that, critical stats and then elemental mastery take priority, with attack substats being something you can tolerate but never look for. I want to say one final thing on the nerf's impact, which generated a big fuss, to which my previous video probably contributed, even though I never stated that Haitham got irreparably ruined or anything there. In my opinion, he's still a pretty good character, with teams that go from decent to quite great. It's a shame he got nerfed, but it's also true that he looked like a very strong character with basically no caveats before, so a 10% damage nerf didn't completely destroy him at all. I'm done for today. I'll be releasing more videos on Haitham in the next few days, specifically a comparison with Tignari when it comes to team building, so you can look forward to that. As always, leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. See you next time.